Hello and welcome to Our Business. Algerian state-run energy group Sonatrach expects earnings from oil and gas sales to dip by 5.2% to $60 billion in 2014 from a year earlier of crude oil prices stabilising for the rest of the year, according to its interim chief executive. OPEC member Algeria, a major gas supplier to Europe, relies heavily on energy earnings to fund its economic development plans and the social programs which helped it avert some of the unrest that hit its neighbours in 2011. Energy earnings dropped to $63.3 billion in 2013 from $70.5 billion in the previous year. Egypt's gross domestic product growth rate rose in the fourth quarter to 3.7%, up from 2.5%, the government said yesterday, in the latest sign that confidence is returning to an economy battered by 3 years of political turmoil. However, the full-year growth rate was barely changed, reflecting earlier quarters' weak expansion, while the security and political climate in the country deteriorated. Egypt posted GDP growth of 2.2% for the full 2013-14 fiscal year, which ended in June. This was up slightly from 2.1% the previous year, but remains far slower than the pace needed to create enough jobs for a youthful population of 86 million. Tunisia's economy needs at least 3 more years of painful and politically difficult reforms, including tax changes and subsidy cuts, to revive growth after the damage it suffered during the 2011 revolution, according to the Prime Minister Mehdi Jomar. The government now expects GDP to grow between 2.3 and 2.5% this year, well below an initial forecast of 4.5%. Last year, Tunisia signed to obtain a 2-year, $1.78 billion loan program from the International Monetary Fund on the understanding that it would pursue economic reforms. Since then, it has taken several steps, including cutting fuel subsidies and raising petrol prices by 6.3% in order to trim the budget deficit. Qatar's international reserves rose to an all-time high of $43.5 billion in August, up $7.2 billion on the same period in 2013. At end of August 2013, Qatar's international reserves stood at $36.3 billion. The latest data show that the import cover stood at 8.2 months at end of August 2014, well above the IMF recommended level for 3 months of pegged exchange rates. QNB said Qatar's international reserves have been steadily rising over the years on large current account surpluses. Going forward, it expects reserves to rise further in 2014 and 2015 on continued high current account surpluses. And finally, Bank Sohar, the Omani lender currently merging with larger rival Bank Dhofar, has scrapped plans for a convertible bond issue and will instead undertake a 40 million Omani Rials rights issue. In a burst filing, the bank said its board had decided against issuing the convertible due to uncertainty regarding its eligibility as an additional Tier 1 instrument. Instead, Bank Sohar will complete a rights issue subject to regulatory approval for a smaller amount, as this is the capital required to support the future growth of the bank, with a further 30 million Omani Rials issue possible in the future if the lender required the extra capital. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. That was it for today. We will be back tomorrow with some more from the business world in the Middle East.